You already know what time of the year it is. This is episode 29 of the Louisiana Dive Bomb podcast, but it's just not any other episode. This is the championship prediction episode where I predict the playoffs and who I think is going to go far and who I think isn't going to go far. So let's go ahead and take a look at who we got in the points, shall we? So last week, Tyler Reddick was able to clinch the regular season title, but he still was not able to get the one seed, if that really matters, because like I said, the playoffs are 3 rounds, um, four if you count the championship round, which that's just one race, but 3 rounds of 3 races. You already know the drill. 10 playoff races to decide a champion. So while Tyler Reddick did clinch the regular season title, it wasn't enough to get the one seed, which that goes to the 5 car of Kyle Larson. And then surprisingly, Christopher Bell's up here in second. Now he had a very good, he had a very good run to start the year, and winning a lot of stages does help. I think he's got 11. I think he's got the most out of everyone. So he's lined up second. Tyler Reddick's lined up third in the standings. William Byron's fourth. He's probably got a good shot. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Keselowski. Those are the top 8. And then we go down to the rest of the order. So we got Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, Harrison Burton, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, Ty Gibbs, and Martin Truex Jr. Gibbs and Truex are the only 2 drivers who are locked into the playoffs without a win, so they can still technically pull it off where they can win the championship without winning a race. The only time that's happened before with this current format, got to go back to Matt Crafton in 2019, I believe. He won the championship without winning a single race. Consistency mattered, but everyone remembers Ryan Newman coming oh so close to winning the championship as a underdog without winning a race. That's the one that sticks out in most people's minds rather than Crafton's. And I don't know how I feel about that, because it is a pretty impossible feat to do, to win the championship without winning a race. It just means that you weren't good enough to win a race, but you were good enough to stay in the title hunt all season long. So we could see that from some of these guys, but uh, that's not what this is about. So we got 3 races uh, where we kick things off at for the opening round. So we got Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol. Very diverse schedule for the first 3 races. We got a super speedway race technically on the 1.5 miles. Then we got a tricky road course for some. Uh, I honestly don't know how that's going to go, because Watkins Glen is usually always in the summer. It's in August. This one's going to be kind of flirting towards fall. And then Bristol Motor Speedway, the cutoff race. There's nothing better than having that for the cutoff race, at least for the first round. So then the second round we go to Kansas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Road Course, or the Roval. Again, another 1.5 miles to kick things off. A super speedway race in the middle of that. That's going to shake things up a ton. And then it's going to be a lot of must-win scenarios for certain guys heading to the Roval that aren't really good at the Roval. It just seems to go that way every year. And then there's always one where they have a solid run, but if they would have had a better round of 12, then they would be moving on to the round of 8, which consists of, again, another 1.5 miles. Oddly enough, 1.5 miles opening up these playoffs, or rounds of playoffs, I should say. So Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Homestead Miami Speedway, and then Martinsville. Classic 1.5 miles in Las Vegas. It's been a great show to watch with the 1.5 miles. Mile and a half's really in general, but the next gen, it's made the 1.5 miles really, really good. And Las Vegas is one of those tracks where it's starting to become really good, not only because of the new next gen car, but also the aging surface where you can run the middle, the bottom, the top. Really diverse speedway. Homestead's kind of the same way. I'm not sure why this isn't hosting the championship event again. 2019 was the last time it hosted this, so I'm hoping that's not the last time we crown the champion at the end of the season. But Homestead always puts on a good show, and like I said, the next gen car just really good on these 1.5 miles. So that's going to be a fun one. And then Martinsville, 500 laps. That's going to be very fun as well. Obviously, that's known for so many incidents over the years, but more recently, the Hail Melon from Ross Chastain. We're not going to see any of that anymore. They banned that move. But last year, Ryan Blaney won that race to secure his spot in the championship race and was able to win the championship from that. So, uh, could see another scenario there this time around, and obviously not the regular season, the season finale, Phoenix Raceway. I almost said Homestead again. That's how that's how much I wanted to be Homestead. But Phoenix Raceway hosting the championship again. It's going to host the championship again next year. But other than that, we don't know for sure if it's going to be hosting the championship for the foreseeable future. Just this year and next year at least, until the 2026 schedule comes out. But that's a long ways down the road. Let's go ahead and kick things off with who I think will be eliminated and who I think will be at the end of it, contending for it. So my first four out, I have. I'm gonna go off one by one. Daniel Suarez. So he did win in Atlanta, but really, other than that, what has he done during the regular season? Like getting that win early, just it puts everything at ease because he won in the photo finish, like incredible photo finish, three-way photo finish in Atlanta. But other than that, what more has he done? Other than that, he's gotten one other top five. So he's got two top fives on the year. One of them was that Atlanta win. Where did that happen at? That happened at Texas. Texas was a crapshoot at the very end, like it always is now. And then he's gotten six top tens, with the most recent one coming at Michigan. Now, given the benefit of the doubt, they were starting to build something up from Indianapolis, Richmond, and Michigan. Finished 8th at Indy, 10th at Richmond, and then 8th at Michigan. But then caught on fire at Daytona, and then he finished 18th at Darlington. So they're kind of getting something going together, but it's it's just not going to be enough because he's so far. Well, I shouldn't say so far back in the points, but he really doesn't have as many points as the front runners do, like say Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick. They got all their bonus points from winning stages, winning the regular season title, and winning races. 5 bonus points for a win, and Daniel Suarez has, he only has one. No, he's got 5 bonus points because of the win, and I think, did he win a stage? I'm not sure if he won a stage, but yeah, he probably did. He probably did. So, Daniel Suarez is getting. This is in no particular order, by the way. This is just how I feel like guys are going to be eliminated. So the next one. Going to be Austin Cindric for me. Now, Austin Cindric needed that win at Gateway to not only lock himself in, but for his career. Hasn't won since the Daytona 500. And really hasn't performed well this year either. Other than that win at Gateway, he's gotten one other top 5 at a racetrack, and that was Atlanta. So things could be looking in the right direction for him, at least this Sunday. Then he's gotten he's got one other top 10, and that was at Indianapolis. Other than that, really hasn't done much. He's been right around mid in the points, like 19th or 20th in the regular season standings. But with the playoffs, got that win at Gateway, which would have been another great run, but Ryan Blaney ran out of fuel at the most incompetent time for him and at the right time for Austin Cindric. So that's another driver I see being eliminated early, and another one which we can just get rid of right now. Harrison Burton in the 21. He got Wood Brothers their 100th win at Daytona. Very dire strengths, but yeah, he was sitting 34th in points, and even after that win, he was still 34th in points. The only other finish he's gotten this year is a top 10 at Talladega, and then he finished 11th in Atlanta earlier this spring. Winter? Was it still winter then? It was still February when they raced it. But yeah, a lot of these guys I'm noticing really good at super speedways, but not so good at most other tracks. Suarez has been building momentum before, but Daytona, Darlington kind of derailed that. But all these guys are good in Atlanta, so that's going to make this really interesting for the opening race of the playoffs because it is a super speedway race now. That's why all these guys are running up front, and that's how Harrison Burton got his win. He was able to stay out of trouble and power his way through to get the win. And we always need the shocker, right? Who's that shocker that's not going to make it to the round of 12? And that, for me, is Joey Logano. I don't know. This year just seems different about Joey Logano. I mean, he's only gotten one win, which, I mean, he had that many last year, but really hasn't been a front runner. Um, Not that much. He's only gotten four top tens, or four top fives, eight top tens. He did finish eighth in Darlington, so that's kind of pushed things in the right direction. Um, he's gotten three poles this year, which Daytona, Vegas, Sonoma, very diverse, but um, he kind of looked out with that win at Nashville. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I don't know. It just really hasn't felt like a year where okay, Joey Logano is gonna go out there and just put on a clinic. Like when he won the championship in 2018, he had three wins, 13 top fives, and 26 top tens. He was a front runner then. Even in 2022, he had four wins, 11 top fives, 17 top tens. Um, Somewhat similar stats to last year, except he only had one win, but the same amount of top fives and top tens. This year's just felt different. I'm not sure if it's just he's declining or what, but for me, I don't see Joey Logano having a good round of 16. Uh, like I mentioned, he did win a pole at Sonoma, but there's going to be more front runners up there that are not Ford. Um, so in my opinion, those are my first four out for the round of 16. Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, Harrison Burton, Joey Logano, they're all eliminated. Now we get to the round of 12, where guys, they're going to move on, but they're not going to contend much for the title. Um, Chase Briscoe is going to be my first one out. Now, Chase Briscoe, swan song season for him, leaving Stuart Haas, going to JGR, going to fill in the seats of Martin Truex Jr. after this season, which that kind of shocked me. I thought they were going to put in a Toyota driver, but giving Briscoe a shot, so why not? Yeah, he really hasn't performed well. He did get the win at Darlington, but other than that, he's got two top fives and six top tens at other racetracks. Which, if you kind of pair that with the only other season he won a race in, which was 2022, he had six top fives and 10 top tens that year. Um, yeah, they've just been really consistent. Stuart Haas has, and I mean that kind of happens when you're in your final season and you have four cars that you're trying to fill out. So you're just trying to put the pieces together. But yeah, he did a good job last week at Darlington. Got that win, locked him in. But um, just gonna need to be a little more consistent, and mainly I look at Talladega as a big factor for why some of these guys aren't gonna make it. Like Briscoe's, he's all right with the road courses, but it's all about how you get through Talladega, and really that's kind of the main factor that I'm putting in for this, because I don't think these four drivers are going to make it through because they're all going to get caught up in the big one, Talladega. So Chase Briscoe, and then the next one, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs is consistent enough to where he can make the round of 12 on pace alone, but again, I just have a feeling that he's going to get caught up in a big one. He's still looking for his first win, though. That's the thing. It could happen in the round of 12. I'm not counting that out. He's good on the road courses. He's good at the Roval, but I think by then he's going to be in a must win, and if he doesn't win, he's not going to move on. Very different this season than last year, though. He's still making progress. He's gotten 7 top 5s, 11 top 10s, heading into the playoffs. Last year, he had 4 top 5s and 10 top 10s, so already a step up from last season for Gibbs. See, his best finish this season, he's finished third quite a bit. He finished third at Phoenix, third at Coda. His best finish was second at Darlington, the spring one. But yeah, a lot of thirds. Third at the Chicago Street Course, third at Michigan, fifth at Daytona. Yeah, so I got caught up in that wreck last week at Darlington. Otherwise, he was going to have a good finish. Yeah, he'll be good enough to make it to the round of 12, but I think by the time they get to the Roval, he'll just be too far back in the points where he needs that win. And like I said, it could happen, but more likely to believe that it doesn't. No offense to any Gibbs fans out there. That's just the way I see things. And I also see similar for Alex Bowman. That's going to be my next driver eliminated from the round of 12. There's a lot of rumors that have been floating around recently about Alex Bowman, if he's gonna stay with Hendrick or if he's gonna get the boot to Spire in the 7 car. Which, okay, let's just get things clear here. He signed a contract extension through 2026. Unless Rick Hendrick really wants to break that off, I don't see that happening. Plus, who are you gonna put in the 48 car? And I know I've had my fair share of opinions on Alex Bowman, where he's kind of like the least I shouldn't say least popular. He's still popular, but out of the 400 cars, he performs the least compared to, say, Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Chase Elliott. Although him and Elliott this year, Bowman and Elliott, they've kind of been on the same wavelength. Just Elliott's been more consistent. Like Bowman's average finish is 15th. When we get to Chase Elliott, his is probably going to be maybe 10th or 11th. I'm just speculating before I get to it. But that win at the Chicago Street Course really did a lot for him. He followed that up with a third at Pocono, but then he's just had a streak of bad finishes. 31st at the Brickyard, 28th at Richmond, 27th at Michigan, 16th at Daytona, 19th at Darlington. I just don't think he's got speed capable enough of making the round of 12, but making through to the round of 8, I don't think that's going to happen. But that's just the way I see things. And I also see that for Brad Keselowski. So this one's going to probably upset a lot of people, or at least shock some. This year's kind of been a resurgence for Keselowski. Hasn't won since 2021, but lo and behold, you get to Darlington. His own car, Chris Buescher, and Tyler Reddick, they beat and bang and take each other out of the finish. And then lo and behold, Keselowski scoots through, gets the job done. So proud of him for that, but I don't know. I just see him getting caught up in the big one at Talladega. Not to mention, he does have a lot of top fives this year compared to years past for RFK. So he's gotten 8 top fives this year, 12 top tens. There's definitely been improvement, but I don't think it's going to be enough to move on in the round of 12. Got to look at how he is at the Roval. He's fine on the road courses, don't get me wrong, but he's just going to need to be a little bit better, and I don't see that happening. Not to mention, well, he is kind of building some momentum. He had a 5th place at Michigan, 8th at Daytona, 14th at Darlington. His worst since returning from the summer break. Worst finish was 16th, and that was at Richmond. Yeah, I mean, it could be a good round of 12 for Keselowski, but this is kind of like a shot in the dark, where it's not like I'm rooting for him to not do good. It's just so my prediction can be true. I don't think that he'll be in a good enough spot points wise. Kansas really I see as his only shot. He could win at Talladega. He's won 6 times there, but with the way this next gen is, if you're not in the right place at the right time, like if you're 4th or 5th in line, and especially at Talladega, you're just 2-car tandeming the whole way through, like side by side drag racing, rather than the usual, oh, we got to run here going 3 wide. I mean, it could happen, but it's very rare with the next gen at Talladega for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. So those are the 4 that I see being eliminated from the round of 12. That's Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, and Brad Keselowski. Now we get to the drivers who aren't going to make the championship 4. They're just going to get to the round of 8, and they're going to have to wait for another year. First one for me is Chase Elliott. Now, I did mention that Chase Elliott, he had a way better year compared to his teammate Alex Bowman, but this is the time where it gets a little bit dicey. I mean, we got 2 mile and a half, which he won earlier this year at Texas, but that was kind of a crapshoot. He didn't lead the most laps in that race, but he was able to put himself in the right position at the right time. Compared to last year, he's gotten the same amount of top 5s with 7, and he's gotten 12 top 10s, but he's been more consistent this year. His worst finish came just a couple weeks ago at Daytona, 36th, and I think that was his only DNF of the year. Yep, his average finish this year is 11th. So he's very consistent, and that's why I think he'll get to the round of 8, but he doesn't have that many points compared to the other guys when I'm looking at bonus points. Like his teammate, Kyle Larson, he's gotten already a 26-point gap over Elliott. And then Christopher Bell's got 18 points, and then Tyler Reddick's got 14. His Hendrick teammate William Byron's got 8. I mean, every point matters, and you're most likely going to need to get those stage wins. I don't think he's good enough to win those stages, and that's really where it's going to come down to, because you got to perform well in all parts of the race, like stage 1, stage 2, and then the final stage. You just got to give it your all and get the best finish that you can. It's really tough when it comes down to this, because it's just so niche. Like the margin for error is very slim when you're in this point, and I don't think he's gonna have enough to win to get in. It could happen, but that's not the way I see things, and I don't see it that way for Christopher Bell either. I don't think he moves on to the championship 4. I really don't. Like you mentioned, he's had a very good regular season. He's gotten a lot of stage wins, and that's why he's second heading into this. He's gotten 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 15 top 10s. The thing with him is that he's very inconsistent, where he's either running up front or he's wrecking. Like, we'll look at this. Since his win at Loudon, finished 36th at Nashville, 37th at the Chicago Street Course, 12th at Pocono, 4th at the Brickyard, 6th at Richmond, 35th at Michigan, 3rd at Daytona, 3rd at Darlington. He could be a guy where, he'll make the championship 4, but it's just one DNF and you're already at a disadvantage. And if that happens early, like say Las Vegas or even Homestead, you're definitely going to be in a must-win for Martinsville. Now, he finished 35th at Martinsville this year. That's not good. Really not good. So, he's going to other short tracks. He's gotten a win this year at Phoenix, which we can count that as a short track. Got a win at Loudon. Can kind of classify that as a short track. It is a mile, but has characteristics of a short track. 4th at Iowa. Very good there. Finished top 10 at Bristol. So, like I said, it could happen, and not to mention, finished 6th at Richmond. Both times, actually. So, if he was just a little more consistent, he would be fine. Like I mentioned, he's got an 18-point gap over Chase Elliott. So, he's fine there. If he doesn't finish, which I feel like it's going to happen. It's happened before at Vegas. It'll happen again. I just feel like he'll be in a bad spot, and he'll be too far back in points. Now we get to the defending Cup champion, Ryan Blaney. In my opinion, will not make it to contend for another title. He'll get to the round of 8, and he'll just squander there, if you will. He enters 5th amongst playoff drivers. He's gotten a couple wins to his name this season, which I actually just saw a post on Twitter today where his Pocono win was already considered a forgotten win. He also won at Iowa. Very cool there. But I don't know. I just think it's going to be a very slim margin that he misses out on. I don't think he'll run bad. I just don't think he'll run good enough to where he can make it to the round of 4. Like, he'll be a few points shy. Now, the last race of the round of 8, it's at Martinsville. Like I mentioned, he won last year, and that punched his ticket to the championship 4, in which he capitalized and he won. I don't know. I don't think he'll have enough to win this time around. Now, he did finish 5th in Martinsville. Now, that's good, but gotta be better on these 1.5 miles in order to have a good shot at. So, he finished 3rd in Vegas. That's really good. Homestead, that could be a wild card for anyone, really, where you finish. He finished 33rd at Texas. Not good. He was caught up in a... Was he caught up in a wreck? I can't remember that far back. He finished 12th at Kansas. He really didn't do good at the Coke 600. He finished 39th there. I wanted to call it Charlotte, but... yeah, the 1.5 miles are going to be my biggest issue with Blaney, even though he's gotten some good finishes there. Short tracks I'm fine with. It's just how he gets through Homestead, how he gets through Las Vegas. He finished 3rd in the spring, could finish very differently down the order this time around. And then the Cinderella, story comes up a bit short. Ryan Truex, the brother of Ryan Truex, Martin Truex Jr., I think will be the final elimination from the round of 8. Now, he's in a Toyota. So Toyotas are already fast enough to begin with. It's just insane how he hasn't won a race. So in my opinion, I think he'll win a race in the playoffs. I don't know when. It'll be before the round of 8 because I don't see him getting past the round of 8. He's only gotten 4 top 5s this year, 9 top 10s. Very off from what we're used to seeing from Martin Truex Jr. Um, and just waiting on that win. I mean, I feel like it's got to happen at some point. It's just mind-boggling where um, his luck has been super bad. I mean, especially the last stretch of races or so. Since his last top 10 at Pocono, he's finished 27th at the Brickyard, 37th at Richmond, 24th at Michigan, 24th at Daytona, and then 36th last week at Darlington, wrecked on lap 2. I feel like something's got to change for this team. And like I said, Toyota, they've been strong all year. Truex, not so much, but just the Cinderella story. I think it'll be enough for him to get to the round of 8, but I don't think he'll have enough to make it to the Championship 4. Now, Championship 4, going to go ahead, state that. William Byron's going to be my first driver locked into the Championship 4 at 24 car. I feel like something's going to click in the playoffs. Something is going to click. And he was so close last year. So I feel like he was left with a bitter taste in his mouth. Had 6 wins last year. Only 3 this year. 8 top 5s, 13 top 10s. But that flip is going to switch whenever it comes to the playoffs. I feel like he got his 3 wins early. So it's been a while since he won. Got to go back to Martinsville. Had some shots at Texas. Finished 3rd. Had a good shot at the... I almost want to say the Charlotte Oval, the Coke 600, but that got pushed away from rain, so he finished 3rd. Finished 2nd at Iowa. Finished 4th at Pocono. Finished 2nd at Michigan. So it's good runs like those that are going to help him propel into the Championship 4. Not to mention last year where he was so close yet so far. I feel like I said, bitter taste in his mouth that he ran that good last year and didn't get the championship. So I feel like this is going to be a different William Byron. We're going to see the playoff mode engage for that 24 car, and they're going to go all the way, just like I think Kyle Larson's going to go all the way. Now, he enters as the number 1 seed despite not winning the regular season title. Had he raced Charlotte, he most definitely would have. He lost by 1 point to Tyler Reddick. But that 5 car, I mean, you can't count him out. Mile and a half he's good at. Short tracks he's good at. Anything with an engine, Kyle Larson's good at. We should know this by now. 4 wins to his name, the same as he had last year, so he can still get another one. 10 top 5s, 13 top 10s. Just has some bad luck with getting caught up in shenanigans. Like getting caught up in the big one at Daytona, and then self-spinning at Michigan. That really hurt him there. Crashing at the Chicago Street Course, that was kind of rough, because it was treacherous out there, and then getting caught up in a wreck at Iowa after he had a dominant car, and then even crashing out at Darlington. He's had fast cars every week, so I don't think that'll be an issue for him, because I think he can point himself in even if he doesn't win, because he has a big points gap already compared to the cutoff line. He is currently plus 35 to the cutoff line. Now, one bad race that could mess things up, but it's Kyle Larson. Gotta trust him. I just feel like he'll be fast. And then I also feel the same about Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin has been really fast this year, although that points penalty after the TRD engine teardown from Bristol, that really kind of set him back. I still think that he'll have speed capable enough of running up front. Only 9 top 5s this year. Does have 3 wins, 12 top 10s as well. But every time I look for my betting articles, huntersleppymedia.com, by the way, Denny Hamlin is almost always the favorite, or he's runner-up to the favorite, if that makes sense. Like, he has the second best odds, or second lowest odds, I should say, of the Cup race. Until we get to like a super speedway, then everything becomes mumbo jumbo. But Denny Hamlin has been really good. The amount of poles he's won is insane. He's gotten 4, but Two of them have come within the last 4 weeks at Richmond and Michigan. Finished 7th at Darlington, 9th at Michigan, 2nd at Richmond, 2nd at Pocono, 2nd at Gateway. He's finished 2nd a good bit this year. So imagine the wins he could have gotten, and that could have propelled him higher up in the playoff total. But like I said, even with the points penalty, I still think Denny Hamlin's going to have enough to get to the championship 4. I just don't think he's going to have enough to become the champion. Now, there's only one name that I haven't said on here, and that is Tyler Reddick. So that's my prediction for the 2024 playoffs. Tyler Reddick's going to be the champion. I mean, the summer stretch that Reddick has had, it's what propelled him into the 3rd seed in the playoffs. He won the regular season title for a reason. He's been on an absolute tear. Now, he hasn't won a lot, but he's been so close to winning where it's just that what if? What if he won, 2 extra races? He could have been this much up on the list. He could have overtaken Kyle Larson as the championship leader or the number 1 seed in the playoffs heading into this. He's gotten more top 5s and more top 10s in his career in any Cup season. He's gotten 11 top 5s, 18 top 10s, the most in his Cup career for a single season, and we still have 10 races to go. He's only gotten 2 wins to his name, but like I mentioned, throughout the summer, that 23-11 team, they've just turned it up. He got the win at Talladega to lock himself in, and then it's really kind of after Darlington where things started set sail for the 45, where they just started racking off top 5s, top 10s like there was no tomorrow. Finished 4th at Charlotte, 4th at Gateway, 8th at Sonoma, finished 22nd at Iowa, finished 6th at Loudon, 3rd at Nashville, 2nd at Chicago, 6th at Pocono, 2nd at Indianapolis, 3rd at Richmond. He won at Michigan, right down in Daytona, but he finished top 10 in Darlington with a stomach flu. He was almost throwing up and crapping himself inside the car, but it was enough to get him the regular season title, and consistency like that matters. And like with only 2 wins to your name and you still win the regular season title, winning's not going to matter for Tyler Reddick unless, one of the championship 4 leading at Phoenix, then it does matter. But I feel like regardless, though, Tyler Reddick has been so consistent over the summer that it's going to carry through to the playoffs, and he's going to make it to the round of 12, the round of 8, the championship 4, and at the end, he'll be the one hoisting the trophy with Michael Jordan in victory lane at Phoenix Raceway, your 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Tyler Reddick. Those are my predictions. Thank you for tuning in to a special episode of the Louisiana Dive Bomb Podcast. Make sure you check out HunterSlippingMedia.com for all my bets in this upcoming playoffs, and I'll catch you at the end of the season and see how much I got right and how much I got wrong.